photography for adults, and this video will be about answering questions and recording my replies to my clients, right? And so let me just start from the first question. I'm gonna crack on straight away, right? And after I'm tired, I'm gonna have a break and I'll reply to your questions. So usually I talk about adult photography, photo shoot experience for adults, right? Photography in style boudoir, glamour, boudoir, nude, explicit, and I discuss a lot about fantasy photo shoot, erotic scenarios, and photography and videos, right, for adults. So as usual, I'm gonna start with a question. I'm gonna chat a little bit and then I will have a break. So during that break, I will look at your questions if you have any. You can ask me online and we can have a chat, right? So let me just start from the first question. Hi guys, I'm looking for a photographer to take some nude classy photos of me. Do you provide this service? I am based in London. Actually, I am based in London, right? So let me just start from this email. It says, hi guys. Okay, there are no guys in my studio, there are only women. Okay, but I do have some videographers who are men, okay, who can join if there is such a complicated project and we need more shooters, right? So usually, usually no guys at my studio, and there is something special about creating adult photography, nude photography, and in general, when people taking their clothes off, they are very much interested how many people will be shooting, how many people are in the studio, are these people men, or this is a woman's team, right? This is the thing that usually people ask about, right? So no guys at my studios. Makeovers are done with the ladies, beauty professionals, okay? There are retouchers, men, but they are working online in their own home, so not in my studio, right? So usually you will be meted and greeted with a woman, right? And erotic photography will be done by the woman, most of the time me. Okay, so there is no guys, if if I might correct this question, right? But it's saying looking for to take some nude classy photos of me. When people are saying that we would take nude classy photos, it means that there is no explicit or sexual or intimate or fantasy situation down there. So it's not going to be naughty, kinky, or in any way provocative shoot, right? When people are asking for something classy, it's going to be a standard session. Okay, standard session, and that means that the person will be naked, okay, in the studio. And usually when I take nude photography, right, nude classy photos of me, he will have a simple boudoir session where he's undressing, right? There will be some portraits, right? Men boudoir is called boudoir photo shoot, right? So there will be some sexy pictures, right? But it's not gonna be him, touching himself or, with erection and so on, right? It's nothing like that. So nude classy photography is when there is a lighting involved, posing involved, right? And all depends on the lighting and posing, right? And the photographer then maneuvers how he wants to present the photo shoot. But usually when people asking nude and classy, they are embarrassed and they are shy and they don't want to go very much further with expressing themselves and analyzing themselves. Okay, this is something what is going to be limited session. When I create unlimited session during nude photography, people create more than boudoir. Okay, and that's probably something special about my studio. Okay, when they do not have to limit themselves. Okay, imagine shooting yourself and controlling yourself to the point not to have an erection. That kind of experience that person will have. Okay, because nude classy photos, it means no erection. That's what it means. The person will be naked, okay, on the 6 p.m. o'clock, right? And there will be body and different lighting, okay, presented during that shoot. Okay, so That is all what it takes to create nude photography. The person will not into sexual energy, and he would not get aroused, and he would not to get turned on. Okay, and that's fine. There are people who wants to have this. This is absolutely fine, and there are a lot of photo studios who would provide this service. Okay, when you are writing to my studio and you are saying that you want a limited session, I can tell you that it is okay, and I will agree on a limited session. But I am always on a experimental mode. There are people when they lying to themselves, okay, that they want just limited session. They're too shy and too blocked inside to actually tell the truth. Okay, just be honest, right? When very often they downgrade the expectation and they want to limit their experience, right? When they are writing to my studio, when Julia is creating unlimited session and asking for nude classy photos which are limited and nothing sexual, I would always go there one step further to check it if that's true. Okay, I will be challenging that person at my studio because this is my job to find the truth. Okay, is he really wants that? Because if that's exactly what the person wants and there is nothing else there, okay, there is no room for adult fantasy, I would leave this way, right? But I would always provoke people and push further. My job is to surprise them, okay, to bring a novelty to their life, to actually show them that they are, there are different people live inside you, okay, and there is someone who is controlling always, okay, and always not allowing to risk, not allowing to go little bit further. This is dangerous, this is risky, this is maybe shameful, this is maybe make you awkward, this is maybe will make you how to say exposed, right, when you are going tapping into sexual energy. That is something for me to find out. Okay, so I'm just making this video to explain that when people are asking classy nude photography, that is fine, they have a full right, okay, to this. It's just when they are writing to a studio who creates photography without limitations, I am that person who always starts safe. Okay, most of the time we shoot with the portraits, right? And dress slowly, and we create semi-nude photography, right? But when it comes to nudity and nude art photo shoot, okay, we cover that and then I check. Okay, is there anything else? Because very often people just cannot tell this. Okay, they just they're trying to be good. They're trying to be good, and they do not allow themselves any other experience. Can you imagine? That kind of a philosophy is there, that you do not allow yourself, and then you do not allow yourself to express yourself during erotic photo shoot. You do not allow yourself in many other areas, okay, including a climax and orgasm. Okay, and when I say including, I'm saying that men are absolutely gifted, okay, with their climax, because they gifted in a way God gave them ability to finish, to end, right, to come to the end easy, right? It is not the same for a woman. There are a lot of women who cannot climax. They need to put a lot of work in there. The men have to put a lot of work in their climax, okay, and every time they feel a different climax, and that's a long story because there are many orgasms there, okay, seriously, right? So men are gifted that way. I'm not gonna go deeper. I'm discussing here questions about erotic photo shoot, photography for men, photography for women, and photography for couples, right? And that specific question was about the guy who's looking to find a photographer to take some nude classy photos. There are men who would like to create photography about themselves. This is their analysis of their body, of their state, physical state, okay, mental state, psychological state, right? And of course, nude photography presents you with the sexual energy. what are the energy levels are there, because there will be pictures when you feel nothing, and there are pictures when you are aroused and you are ready to explore, that intimate and adult side, right? Adult side of things, right? And that's all represented in energy. Okay, and these pictures exactly reflects the energy. And this video, I go live every time, and I do not change the title of the video, because the sexual energy is adult resource that adults have to acknowledge, accept it, right? And then learn how to use it. Learn to let it out, when, how much they should let it out, okay, and so on. With who, right? And so on. So I hope I answered this question. Let me have another question, which comes from Hi, please. Could I discuss booking a couple's photo shoot with my husband for his 40th birthday gift? We have been looking at your website for some time. I have various outfits, but only even taken phone photos, and would like some professional photos, please. Okay, so this question comes from the couple. Okay, couple who has a special event going on, right? 40th birthday. It can be for couple birthday parties, could be, like a restaurant situation, or people can travel somewhere, or people go to museum or musical, right? To theater. Different kind of things adults do. And not traditional thing is to do an erotic photo shoot. Okay, that's not something what people would think of, right? But here we go, right? There is a 30th birthday, and people think that it will be great to celebrate it with a special idea, right? Which will connect them, which will convert these moments into a very special memories that they will be left with them forever, okay? Forever. That's what that is. Okay, photography, it's like, you will do this. This is the first time experience. This is very challenging. It feels maybe nerve-wracking, risky, frisky, and thrilling and exciting, right? This is all kind of a energies comes towards this event, right? When you go to have a dinner at the restaurant, it's not very risky, or like frisky. Yeah, I'm agreeing. Yes, photo shoot is something what people would remember, definitely, and depending with who they are going to shoot it, that's also a very important factor. Okay, so the lady is saying that she has lots of various outfits, and I can tell you, 10 years ago in my studio, I had a huge wardrobe, sexy wardrobe. Okay, there will be a lot of dresses and underwear, a lot of stuff. And then lately, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, I just discard. I just removed all the wardrobe. First of all, it's taking a lot of space, and second of all, when people are coming to have a photo shoot, they're bringing a luggage of stuff. Okay, they seriously have sexy outfits. They have it. Majority who has the sexual energy, and they are exploring, outfits. They have outfits, they have shoes, they have accessories, they have everything. They have sexy dresses. Okay, so I removed my wardrobe. I just have, a small cupboard, at the moment. But like I said, this lady is saying that she has various outfits, and that she created photography with her husband, but that is a homemade amateur, right, situation. And they would like to have some professional photos. So what will happen during this photo shoot? Of course, she will bring her wardrobe, okay, into my studio. Sometimes they bring even two luggages. Sometimes I can tell you how I feel, okay, when I open those luggages and when I look what they bought. Okay, I can't stop myself. I want to shoot everything because it's so hot and sexy. They buy leather stuff, they buy fetish stuff, they buy different kind of props. Okay, there are, like beautiful color lingerie there, and suspenders and this and heels. Oh my gosh, and boots. They bring everything. Okay, even the furry coats they bring for erotic photo shoots. Okay, so there are different kind of fantasies out there, and they bring their clothes to the studio. And that means that it's going to be like a sexy fashion shoot, right? And the husband will be there just watching because I have to cover this topic, okay? Usually, what happens when they bring a lot of outfits? We are choosing, we're trying on, we're choosing, we're making those ensembles. So the shoes and accessories will match, and the settings will match in the studio, and then the husband will join. Okay, so we start from the lady because she would have her solo session at the beginning, boudoir portraits, glamour, style, and different kind, depending on the lighting, right? And then the husband, you see, usually, and I can tell you this about couples photo shoots, okay? And this is very serious. There are guys who would never shoot, okay? There are men who would book a photo shoot for their lady, okay, as a present, or as a some kind of experience, right, to make her feel sexy, to boost her confidence. And they would say, no, no, this is just for her. I am not going to be in the shots. I'm not, okay. And I can tell you what happens during that photo shoot. So he brings his wife, we do the makeup, right, for her, hairstyling, we will dress her. He goes to the studio, he sees how everything is on. He's getting turned on from the whole process, okay, because his wife is all sexy and posing and, in all allure and all, kind of seductive mode, right? And then he, I can sense this, I can smell, right, I can sense this, that he is happy to join. And I say, okay, come closer, sit down there maybe, or go behind her and just put hands on the shoulders, or touch her hair, or like slightly kiss her neck. And I can tell you they're ready to mate, and they're ready to create a couples photo shoot. So when the couple is booking a solo shoot for a lady, okay, at the end of the shoot, I am always ending up shooting a make love scenes for two. Okay, so booking for one, booking for one, and the man is very skeptical. This type of couple there is, right? The man is very skeptical, not photogenic, doesn't want to be in front of the camera, like how to say, made up his mind. And I'm like, are you sure you're not gonna shoot? Yes, I am sure. Okay, okay. After half an hour, he wants to be there, he comes closer, he is watching, he's in my way very often, okay, he's like next to me, or he's trying to take the picture with me as well, and 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 in my space, okay. So then I say, okay, come closer, and we end up shooting a couple shoots, okay. So if you that husband, okay, I am not going, because I always now ask, is this one person coming to the studio too? Because if two people are coming to the studio, 99% that they shoot. 99%. It's not that I'm convincing them, but because the way the process evolves, right, and the way it gets sexual, the interest comes up, like this appetite, right? You don't want to eat. You don't want to eat, but you sit next to the table. It's a very simple example. You don't want to eat, but other people eating, right? Trying the food, imagine you in the restaurant and there are other people eating and you just sitting there. In some time you will want to try this. And then what happens when you try this? Then you start eating it. Okay? And this is the same what happens to the shoot, right? So now I'm shooting and I'm shooting. Now I'm booking a couple, always a couple. Even it's a photo shoot for her and husband is arriving, okay? I am always saying I'm going to make a deposit for two people, right? For two people, because two people arrive there and there is two people I'm serving, and then you will see that they will see that the husband will find his own way there to be with his girlfriend, with his wife, with a second man. That's how I roll. Okay, maybe there are different shoots in the different studios. Otherwise, in my studio, there is always a sexual vibe going on, always. And when I say for this guy, there will be no other time. It's just this moment. It's just this moment, and it just can happen right now. Okay, when you know when you what you're gonna wait for, when is gonna be next, when, you know, you don't know, maybe never. Okay, and then they are very happy to join, right? So birthday parties are one of the events that we shoot for couples at my studio. Okay, and like I say, even the husband is saying no, it's for her confidence, to just capture her beauty, how she is. I want to remember her like this. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to shoot. And I don't want even to do photography. I don't want to be in the pictures. It happens otherwise. Okay? Seriously, it does, right? So let me quickly, true, I can see, I can see someone is agreeing, which is very nice. Okay, let me just quickly say hello. I'm saying hello and I'm asking, answering questions, what people are writing and asking me. Okay, what questions they have, I am answering today, and I am talking as well with people who are on live, on my live. And I'm saying hi, and I'm reading out what I see. Okay, so I'm just scrolling now, and one message, one message. Okay, there is a very shy crowd today, which has just one message for me, which is fine. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Let me just quickly check how to make my phone not move, so that I'm checking here. Right, okay. Roses, thank you so much. What the hell are you talking about? The hell is like a swear word, okay? So the person is agitated, okay? When people are swearing, they already vibrate in a negative energy. They already are unhappy. Imagine you wake up and you vibrate with this unpleasant energy, okay? And then what they do is they come and they want to talk, and they want to share the unpleasant energy with the others, okay? Because if they would have a pleasant energy, that's exactly what people will share, okay? So people share what they have, okay? And sometimes they have that, and I feel sorry that you just have that. Okay, right. I usually skip this part and get straight to the good part. What do you mean? When the couple, maybe we have a photographer here, right? Maybe we have a photographer who says I would skip to the part and I would get to the good part. The good part when they are already making love, that's true. And that is the hottest part, okay? But it's not so easy to go into that vibration when people are doubting. Okay, when people are worrying, when people are nervous about their body, how they look, maybe they show too much, maybe maybe they're not allowed, they always doubting, and so on. So that's not so straightforward to jump into that part. And I can tell you that there are different people. Okay, there are people who can undress straight away. Okay, they just can come to the studio and take their clothes off in 5 minutes, and they want to perform, be naked, and do stuff. Okay, there are people who take their clothes, cling to their clothes, and take their clothes slowly. Okay, slowly, and I cannot stress them. Okay, because stress is a negative energy. Why would I shoot something sexual when people are feel negative in their body, right? There is no place when it comes to that. When I recently I heard a podcast about love, when people are experiencing and love and hate. Okay, and a very very famous psychologist, couple psychologist, was discussing that, how these two emotions, negative and positives, are staying in their body, and at the same time vibrating. Okay, and I can tell you, I have my experience about this. This emotion only can stay in a child's body. Okay, for adults, it's just or this or that. Okay, for adults, if you an adult vibration, right, in that vibration, you have a negative body, and mind, when you think that something is wrong with you, or you would look awkward, or you would be silly, or you know how to say everything is, staged and faked, yes, and you wanna pretend or be someone else, this is all unpleasant and negative emotion. In that emotion, right, you can take sexy, hot, confident pictures of you. It's just a fact. I've did a lot of shoots, okay? But what psychologists are saying that this is possible, and that's where I do not agree with them. It is possible when the adult vibrates in a negative, in a child's energy, then he can feel negative and positive, love and hate inside, right? But let me give you an example of adult woman being pregnant. Okay, and the pregnancy is a very classical example because you can't be just a little bit pregnant. You can be or pregnant or not pregnant. Okay, and that's a state. That's a state, right? So there are a lot of adults who live their life and vibrate in child's vibration. And in child's vibration, they don't know, they blame someone else's fault, right? Do I come across like a child saying like, oh, this is him, oh, this is, why he does make me feel this way, and all kind of emotions, like you are a victim, you feel guilt, or you blaming someone, or how to say, pointing fingers that is anyone else's fault. This is all child's energy in adult's body speaking. And what they're doing through those sessions, they're talking to that child, to adults, adult therapy, couples therapy, right? When they come and they, how to say, one is this, the other is this, and then the other adult who is a therapist, like, analyzing and talking, right? And that's why you see these therapies take ages, like seriously, years. It takes years and they're not effective, okay, because they do not see themselves. Okay, photography is the medium when you take a picture of you, when there is no one else. This is into you. Okay, all the experience, feelings, emotions coming back into you, what you reflect. Okay, and when you see your artwork, this is the information what you get. No one can read it better than you. If you feel at that moment that you think about, how to say, about your car, have you closed your car, or you parked it well, and during that photo shoot, this is exactly the energy and the coding that you get for that image. Okay, and the photographer is taking picture, he's not aware of what you're thinking. But when you look at that picture later, day later, week later, or 10 days later, that will be the information of that picture. That would be the code which will come back into your brain, because your brain created this picture, right? So that is very important, what you feel when you create. And usually when people start creating, they have a mess in their head. Okay, there are a lot of people talking. Okay, it's like a hotel in there, right? A hotel. There are a lot of alter egos what are speaking to you. You're doing right, you're doing wrong, how do you look, or maybe you should not do that, maybe you should not, open your legs that wide, or maybe you should not scream during the, this is all these alter egos that, come to the surface and speak to you, because you're taking an action. When you're taking an action, you're getting a response inside of you. When you're sitting on the chair, okay, when you're sitting on a chair in front of the psychologist, there are no alter egos there, okay, very much active. They are there present, but they somewhere in subconscious mind, very back there, okay, and you do not confront them that much. When you are in the studio and you are undressing and you're revealing on your insecurities and your imperfections, you are getting information and analysis about yourself, about your mental state, about your body state, about your physical health, okay, psychological health. This is all there. Okay, that's why I am saying that erotic photography is not only just for fun. Okay, because you can do this way. Okay, you can just do it. Seriously, people can come to the studio, take their pants off. The photographer will take the picture, 1, 2, 3, 5, and you go home. Okay, and that would be a photography that you get. Okay, and you can be at that moment in any stage, but that's exactly what you memorize, and that's exactly the information and the coding that you would get. Okay, that's how it is with the photography. So I am here to explain and give an information and broaden your understanding, okay, about the shoot. In general, last video, the reel on my TikTok account, I made about a mirror reflection. I did a lot of therapy shoots with a mirror reflection. And I can show you that when I am covering with the towel my body, the mirror still showing me inside the mirror. Okay, you can look at my reel. It's really fun to look, and you can experiment this way in a home. When you stand and you put the video camera, it has to cover you, right? But that's, that's the whole trick in life, right? And I'm saying in my video, in my reel, that there is no spoon. Okay, just this. But the men who looking at this video, they just see me, and they saying, "Oh, you're so hot, you're so hot." Everyone is ignoring the meaning of this video because you see, our brain comprehends the information what it allows you to understand. Okay, you just see as much as you can. You have a bigger capacity, your brain is working up to 20%, no more, right? But you have an 80% left of that capacity that you can use, yeah, for yourself, for your good, for your benefit, right? For your health, for your relationship, for your money situation. This is all adult energy, and this is all related to sexual energy, how you connect with yourself, how you understand yourself. That's the first thing in life. Okay, not point outside you. And it's strange, but we have eyes poking out. Okay, that's why we do not see ourselves. That's the tricky situation is. That's why we're using a mirror to recognize and see how we look. Right? And the photographer's job is to show you better understanding of who you are. And especially when people coming to have an erotic photo shoot, what they do, they keep secrets. 100%. They lie, they keep secrets, they holding back, okay? They're not telling the whole truth. There are people who are honest to a certain degree, okay? Seriously. But when it comes to creating explicit penetration shoots, fantasy shoots, they keeping secrets, okay? Because that's how we coded, that's how we brought up. When it comes to your intimacy, everything is here. Okay, and you have erotic fantasies, adult fantasies, which are out of your range, even of possibilities, right? And even more than you can imagine, and when you go to an adult channel, corn, there are a lot of people who are watching something what they will never create in their life or do in their life, and they do not understand who is interested in this information, that alter ego who sits in your head, right? the fellow the fellow who sits in their head, very interested to see this, right? So it will be great if I could skip the part, okay? But usually when you create erotic photography, and I am talking about myself, it has to be for the energy, okay? And energy is not something what is like chic and new and sexy energy. It's not going like this. People actually have to get rid of a lot of, heavy load to be themselves, okay? Just truly that freedom, when it comes, it doesn't come, with the blink of the eye, right? They have to do a lot of stuff, touch themselves, play role play scenarios, maybe hit their partner to release something, right? I do many tricks and things, maybe they need to hit someone else, like a wall and this. Maybe they need a whip and, something to release this energy, right? Because we are too blocked, too squeezed, too limited, put it in a box and told what to do and what is allowed, what is not allowed. And then at the end, everyone is looking who they are because they don't know who they are. They grow up and other people told you who you are, and that's not what you are. That's why everyone is searching for themselves or endlessly studying and trying to study. There is nothing, there is everything in here. What you need to do is see yourself. How you can see, start recording. How you can understand what you see is expanding your brain, right? With the feelings, right? We can understand through here. Yeah, here. Through magnetic vibes, yeah? And here is electric vibes, right? There's a different fields going on here in our body, right? But we create the energy, and that energy is our resource. That's why some people have low energy and other people have high energy, right? To create frequency, a higher frequency, you need a bigger charge, right? And that's where erotica comes, because it comes with imagination, it comes with intuition, right? Intuition is so important. And you can feel other people with intuition, you know you can sense what they want, you can actually tap in that moment with them. That's why we need erotica, okay? So let me just quickly go to the end. Thank you for sharing this with us. You're welcome. Find what? Thank you for sharing this with us this morning. It's a morning for you. It is afternoon for you. Understood. I understand what you mean. Good. There are many people who understand. Very good. There are also people who do not understand, and that is okay. Okay, not everyone on the same level, not everyone, okay? If I would meet myself 30 years back, I would not understand this either, okay? I had to cross a lot of mountains and a lot of bridges to understand this, okay? So let me just finish saying hi, hello. Have a couple ever invited you in a bedroom? Very often question. Almost every live, people are asking if I am joining the shoot, because that's what they think. That it taps into their head. Okay, the idea. Logically, I can tell you this, right? This is an adult photo shoot, okay? And there are clients who think that this is okay to ask photographer to do them a favor, okay? Something. And there are different kind of favors. For example, couples would say, okay, can you undress as well, because it will make us feel better. We will not be so much shy and embarrassed, okay? Or couple will ask me to participate in their fetish adventure, and how to say, and be that humiliate someone and talk something, right? Be in that dialogue with them. Or couples would ask, for example, oh, can you, so we are creating this sexy movie, and can you be also turned on and very sexual during this photo shoot? Okay. I remember the last couple I reply, say, when I'm turned on, I have my eyes closed. Do you want this video? you know, because that's honest. I would lie saying that, oh, yes, I can do, but that's a lie. My photography is about the truth, okay? And it's not beautiful, and art doesn't have to be beautiful. The art that you make, it have to make you feel something. That's the meaning of the art in general. When you see it everywhere around the world, in exhibitions, okay, in medical buildings, right? Rehab, hospital, clinic, or whatever. It makes you heal by feeling something, right? So that's what we're creating. And adults, every adult is damaged. Every adult is damaged. There are just so little who had a great, upbringing and a great story, and even then, children when grow up, you see they exposed to a certain situations that make them feel that they're abandoned or someone left them, and so on. And our brain, designed in the way that it actually enjoys suffering. Okay, it actually wants to stay longer. Scientifically, the brain in a tragedy or an unpleasant emotion staying much longer than in a pleasant. Okay, if you can be joyful for 5 minutes, you will go in a stressful situation, you stay half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours in that vibration. Okay, because why? because your brain doesn't want to let go. Okay, it enjoys it, right? That's why alter egos live there. Okay, and there are other creatures who is feeding from your energy, negative energy. So that's how you design. You constantly are fighting, in yang energy. Okay, so you're pushing yourself if you understand how the life works, right? If you vibrate pleasant energy and positive energy, that's exactly what you display, and that's what comes to your life. Okay, so that's the situation. Thank you for your roses, right? So yes, very often question, very often request for adults. I usually dismiss those couples because if they have this agenda and thought in their head already, they're not my clients. Okay, they're not. And how I base this, I can tell you, I already explained so many times that you can go and see your proctologist, urologist, gynecologist, right? Who is doing a service on your intimate parts when you need to undress and show your coochie or bum, a kind of a situation, right? There is no adult who will turn around and say, "Now your turn, take your pants off, and I'm gonna put your fingers in, my fingers in." There is no situation like that. There is no adult who would tell this medical professional that, can you just now, show me yours, right? So that's the profession. Photography is also a profession, right? Or a doctor, a photographer. Actually, my previous profession, and I was aiming, okay, because I was studying medicine for 7 years. That's why I'm giving you this example, okay, and that's why I'm so good with naked people or people after any kind of illnesses. That's why I recognize people who are in distress. That's why I recognize people who need therapy, right? And because I have knowledge for this. Okay, so I can say that there are people who respect the professional, right? And there are people who don't. Don't, right? So photography, a photographer who creating a nude photography, boudoir photography, and even creating male-led scenarios is a professional who is job to create a photography or a videos. In their job description, there is no title or something that's saying that you are going to undress your clothes and shag this client. There isn't. Okay, there is no information like that in the job description. It is just in their adult's fantasy. Okay, seriously. And every time I'm coming back to this, and every time I'm explaining this. Okay, because that's the most often question, comes from the men only. There are no women who thinks this way or ask me this question. Okay, so thank you so much, and I'm repeating myself, and I'm saying that I treat my job in a professional way. Okay, in a professional way, right? High question: a thumb in or thumb out? Okay, what is this question about, thumb in or thumb out? In reality, maybe it's related to unlimited photo shoot. Okay, in and out is related always, okay, with penetration, right? So there are people who have this in mind but even not able to verbally express this, okay, and people who are not able verbally express their erotic fantasy, adult fantasy, the games that they're interested in, and they stuck, okay, they calling, they want to ask for a certain thing, and they stuck in their voice, okay, it just terminates. Again, there is a silent in there, or mumbling, okay, or like, that kind of a situation. So they are in a child's vibration because adults are absolutely able to express what they want, their desires, their passions, okay, their likes, okay, and they are able freely, without any hesitation or embarrassment, to talk about adult things, right? When it comes to satisfying and looking after your body and knowing what you like. Okay, unfortunately, there are a lot of adults who do not understand why they can't. Okay, and then they go and talk to therapist, and therapists do not understand those things, no, and shrinks give you some medicine. Anyway, going to another question where I can see, I want to take, okay, it comes from the guy. So I am interested. I want to take photos of my heart oiled o'clock in the mouth and hands of a sexy female. And I want to do several solo shots of my dick. Okay, that's the message. Okay, it's clearly who it comes from, right? We know that is the guy. On the name, I would not say, it could be different name, looks like a female's name, but doesn't matter. It clearly comes from the guy, and that's a very straightforward, okay, no going around in circles, right, situation. So someone clearly knows what he wants. Okay, for this photo shoot, when he wants to shoot with the female, we can advise to hire a model. Okay, we can advise to hire a model. Clearly, he doesn't have one because he will be booking then a couple's photo shoot and mentioning that we are a couple arriving together and we would like to do this and this, right? And this is not a couple, this is an individual who would like to create photo shoot in a couple style, right? And that's a very good therapy for single and lonely guys. I can tell you, some guys, some men, stuck in a loneliness vibration for too long and they don't know how to get out of this. So this type of photo shoot is a proof for them that they can do it. Okay, that feeling that they would have with this female would mesmerize them and would take over, that they will send the signal in the brain that they really enjoy this to be with the woman and they would like to have one with, like for the term, like long term, not like, short term. I mean, you can do it short term, right? But usually when the guys do not have a female, then they want to book a model. Or there is another option when the wife do not want to have a photo shoot. Okay, then they hire a model. Yeah, so these are the options. And yes, studio is, how to say, advising. Studio is assisting on this request, and usually what I would do is I would check his ID, okay, to make sure that he is serious, okay, and he is adult enough, okay. Then I would collect a deposit because every model and the studio reservation require a deposit, okay. And then I would speak with the female models who would like to create this oil stain. Okay, and with the oil stain, usually can be a tantric model. I would advise him and a tantric model and an escort model, and he could choose. Okay, ladies look different. Ladies have different price. Ladies have different experience. Okay, he would choose what he's fancy. Okay, and then I would send him, of course, a range of pricing that he can have and what happened during that photo shoot. Okay, when I'm taking photo shoot individual guy with the model, there is a model who is changing in a different outfits. Okay, there are sexy outfits that who guy will choose. For example, I want red, black and white, yeah, or some kind of a dress, classic dress. He wants a classic dress or whatever he wants. The lady will be wearing the preference what he wants to have in a shoot. Okay, then he will be undressing the lady in a shoot, and then she needs to go to changing room and put herself into a second outfit and have a second scene. So there is always a time frame, okay, when the lady is getting prepared for a next setting, next shoot, right, next shots. And it's around 5 to 15 minutes depending on, on outfits and so on. So in that time I'm shooting solo shoots with the guy. So during that photo shoot I have a range of photography. One is them two together as a couple creating make love scenarios here, right? And then and then I will be shooting solo shoots, and I can see that there is no penetration involved. Okay, just mouth play, hand play. So that is going to be okay, and this is something for clients to remember. If you booked just this, okay, you can't accidentally slip into ladies' coochie. You can't. This is the service what you give with the hand and with the mouth, right? And that's pictures you want to have. This is your fantasy. This is something how you imagine. Do not imagine that the lady will give you something more. Okay, that's my how to say information to a client. Okay, no matter how sexy you look, I am not allowed this because you see, I am charging also by the service. Okay, the hotter the shoot, the more you pay. Okay, so if it's this shoot like a foreplay situation, that's what something I would charge for, right? If you want to upgrade your shoot, imagine you like the model. It happens very often when they like the model, when they get turned on, and when they want more than this shoot that they've booked, they have full intimacy. Then they have to speak with the model. If the model agrees, he's paying extra to the model and he's paying extra to me. You know, I'm not shooting this for free. You understand how it goes? Very often, men imagine that if they pay a deposit and pay a certain amount, then they can do whatever they want, come as many times as they want. No, there is a certain plan to follow, and that's something what we shoot. If they want something more, they pay. And also, I would like to tell about booking a model because this is maybe a news, okay? But usually, when it comes to booking a model, this is two people in the studio. You pay reservation and you pay service for two people. It means that you pay for yourself and for your model, okay? And on the top of that, you pay model service. Okay, so what happens is usually that you book a deposit, book with deposit beforehand, then the model arrives, you give the model money, okay, for the fantasy that you would like to create. When the model has the money, we are having the shoot. And when everything is created and I know that the shoot was successful, that I have footage on my hands, I know what we shot. Sometimes they book just the photography and then they want videos, okay, or vice versa. I will see what I've created, photography, videos, and then you will pay for the shoot and for post-production. That's what it goes. Usually it's this way, okay? So I hope this question been answered, and I will check if I have more questions about photo shoots, erotic photo shoots. What we have here, prove it. It's sexual energy. It's sexual energy. It's sexual energy. Prove it. Prove it. Yes, sexual energy appears during a certain time, not necessarily straight away in that highest vibration, but it's visible in the photography and in the videos. Okay, and it's clear for those people who are shooting because they have a footage from the start to the point that they vibrate with the highest sexual energy. And these images vary, okay, into before and after shooting. Okay, it's clearly visible. I can, when I'm reviewing the whole file, I could tell on what picture the sexual energy is kicking in and start affecting them. Okay, because they will loosen up, their face changes, their body responsiveness changes, flexibility changes, right? They're more, how to say, they're more free, they're more free, they act more younger than they are. Some people come very old, right? Very old, and when they have this photo shoot, they look like they just been aging, and aging is the thing. You start aging from 25. Okay, so when I'm shooting very mature people during the photo shoot, when it escalates to make love scenarios, at the end they look like 35. Okay, in their pictures, seriously, because they're so happy, they're so satisfied. This orgasmic state is amazing. What transformation and change they can do. And I am not lying to you because you know you can indicate the couple who is very good with each other and and they have vibrant sexual energy between them. You can see on their faces. Yeah. And the couple who just alive, you can see on their faces too. And there is very often hormonal change as well on them affecting. Okay, because their body changes, not only face. Okay, so that's what happens with people. Right, so that's scientifically proved. I don't have to prove anything. When my clients arrive to the studio, they are coming for this proof, to see this energy on them and to see how it will be affecting them, and then they are visually witnessing this with the artwork that they create. Okay, and then if they lose this energy, they always able to come back to that footage because they preserve it already there. They know that this is their vibration, this is exists inside of them, and they're able to recreate and go back into that coding, right? Greetings, beautiful. Have a great day with love, respect. Very nice. Thank you so much. Okay, interesting. I happen to aim for interactions, for cerebral interactions much deeper. What do you mean by interactions? Okay, what do you mean by interactions? When you talk about cerebral interactions, I'm associating with certain people. Recently I had a disabled guy who booked a photo shoot and forgot to tell me that he's disabled. Okay, and that is something what is very common with men. They hiding. Okay, they're hiding a certain truth, which actually affects the way the model feels. Okay, it affects how the photographer feels. It affects how the shoot goes because his mobility is restricted. Okay, and then I would prefer to know in advance to inform the model, because the model has a right to know and to choose. Does he want to participate in the shoot or no? Right? So it was a dishonest move from the client. Okay, dishonest move. But I can tell you, there is always a balance in the universe. Okay, so this client booked a photo shoot with a model for a special his event, and he would ask to have an intimate penetration scene. Okay, and the model said no. you know and the model said no. The model created the whole shoot, which was pleasant and explicit and sexual and intimate, but then when it came to make love, the model said no. And I think it's fair. That's how it's supposed to be, in life. Because if you are like this, you always have, a certain response from the universe. That's how the life goes, right? So this is the thing. This is the thing. Right? Okay, let me just check. Let me just check what you're writing. Okay, it comes to a certain, just a second. It's sexual energy, prove it. Okay, what is that? Happy Friday, beautiful weekend. Yes, it's Friday. It's Friday. That's good deal. That's a good deal. That's a good deal. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Wow, beautiful woman. Okay, thank you so much for being here and watching here. I'm not gonna go into a next question, or maybe I should. Hi, Julia. I am interested in booking an erotic photo shoot for me and my wife. Okay. Please, can you let me know cost and the logistics of the shoot? This is guy writing, okay? Because when they say logistics, it's only men can say this. Maybe he even working in logistics, so that's why it's in his vocabulary, okay? This word, because usually men would not ask the logistics. Okay, let me answer this question. Logistic is a directory from the point A to point B. Okay, the point A, of course, always starts with checking the couple, right? Checking the couple, checking their ID or the age, right? And checking what they want. Okay, checking their energy, right? Then we collect the deposit. We collect the deposit and we provide the information for a photo shoot. We create a shooting plan. Okay, we discuss what they like, what styles. We discuss the wardrobes options. We discuss the beauty makeover options, right? We discuss the timing, how long is the shoot, what we're shooting, photography or videos. We discuss the post production. Okay, post production. And then we're booking a day when it's best for all three parties, because a husband has his own days, wife also, and then studio has, other days, right? So we will just book the day that it's all convenient for us. And then you see people arrive and they will be having a consultation with me, go around the studio, get ready, and then go into a shooting mode, into a studio, right? Where they will create a certain photo shoot that we will discuss and agree on. During that photo shoot, many things can change. Okay, very rarely it happens the way we discussed. Usually, we change our mind by the energy, by the feel. Okay, the couple, the music is going, and it's just a certain vibe that sometimes I am changing too much. Okay, I'm just thinking, no, actually, this should be this way, and this should be that way. So the thing what we plan not necessarily would happen, but usually we shoot even more, okay, even better. I strive to shoot something what is unique, something what is very special, something where nowhere I made it, right? It's an art for me every time. Okay, I experiment with every couple, but at the beginning I shoot safe shots, what people have in mind. They have in mind the studio pictures in front of the background. Okay, that's what they have in mind, and that's how I start. I put them in front of the background. They undress few times in front of the background, and that's how we have a safe shot. And then we move around the studio. Okay, they make love, they kiss, they dance, they go into different positions around the studio. There are different sets, props, different furniture. So that's what we use. We use everything and create photography and videos. Most of the time, it's a version of the session that couples will choose. Okay, and then after we already shot, then I have all the footage on hand. You see, at the beginning we just imagining that we will create. Okay, we're just imagining, oh, maybe there will be that many pictures. Okay, imagining 300 pictures and maybe 30 minutes video. And then the reality is 700 pictures, and maybe 50 minutes video. Okay, so imagining and the reality, not matching. We can create always more. Then I will discuss with the couple what we are doing with this, because we imagine, one thing and we created more, how we're going to do about it, because the post-production time will be double. Okay, you exceeded your expectations. You created more than, you showed more. You show up for a shoot to make a certain scenario, and then suddenly the creative mode, right, take over. Sexual energy take over, and you wanting more, you showing more, you shooting more. The shoot progresses, is more interesting. Okay, this is Julia straight away jumping and creating, videos and this and that, because thinking, oh my gosh, this is something what we are kind of inspiring each other during the shoot. It's like dancing, I'm showing them this, I'm showing how I would do this scene, and then they repeating, and then they start um, mm, just a second, I have to verify this. This is verification from the TikTok. So, like I say, that's how I raise up the energy. I interfere with my ideas, with my intuition, with my adjustments, with my suggestions. Every time they stuck, I've changed things. Okay, every time I see they are in the same mode or in the same position, I move them around and I do a lot of things. I have my own strategies and techniques how I work in the studio, and that's why all pays off, because the longer they shoot, the better is content. That is almost absolute rule. Unless they are on the perfect energy vibe and they start shooting straight away. Okay, but usually people come blocked, okay, and reserved, and to overcome this there are a certain, timing, and some elements that I have to put in place that people get relaxed, and don't care about what is going on, right? So that's the thing, and then they just pay a remaining balance after the shoot. Okay, after the shoot, first they get to pay a deposit, and then they shoot the whole scene, okay, the whole setting, and that's it. And that's it. The only thing what I don't do is I do not allow people to take their images and videos before they pay. So they have to pay in full. I show them. They have a galleries to review, but they are not able to download it before they pay. That's the only thing. That's the logistics. I hope they understand. And the shoot pricing is this: cost for a photo shoot for couple, there is a deposit fee 740. Okay, and then the shoot could be 1K, 2K, 3K, 5K, 10K, 50K, different kind of shoots. Okay, different post production, different levels, different scene scenarios, different locations. This is something for me to discuss further. What is going to happen? Also, I have packages, so we can fit somehow in their budget. That's an option, right? I hope this is useful, and I hope this is clear how my studio works. And let me just, you are looking particularly attractive. Thank you so much. Particularly. What's That's good, Julia. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go on the date. Okay, wow, beautiful woman. Right. Okay, I am about to finish. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here, asking these questions. Love you, kiss you, mean it, and see you next time. Bye. And bye here.